Welcome to Perspectives El Paso. I'm Leon Blevins of El Paso Community College Television. I have a special group of guests today with the Chopin Music Festival here in El Paso, Texas. As you can see, I'm dressed somewhat as Chopin dressed back in the 1830s. I have a bit of a sinus infection here in El Paso. Here we are in September, fairly early September of 2016. So bear with me as I work with my guest today. I've dressed this way before, visiting with Lucy Scarborough, longtime faculty member of El Paso Community College in the music department. She and I came to El Paso Community College in the early 1970s. That dates us a little bit. So Lucy Scarborough, welcome back to another interview about the Chopin Music Festival.
Well, thank you.
Good to have you again. And you have some special guests with you that are on your board. I'm on your board for your festival. We have Anita Shing, and we have Tina Stewart.
Yes.
And so you have worked these volunteers into your program over many years, and we'll get to that. First, let's deal with you, Lucy, and your background in music. Keep this abbreviated with your history because we want to spend most of the time talking about the festival. But how did you get into piano, and why did you fall in love with the music of Chopin? Frédéric Chopin, a Polish composer who spent a lot of time in Paris, France.
Well, how did I get into music? Well, you know, my parents were very smart, my mother especially, because she was a musician. And I was the 10th of a family of 10, and they kept us busy. You know, we had to do it whether we wanted to or not. And so, of course, she made it pleasant. It sounded kind of unpleasant there, but it wasn't. And then we played all kinds of music, and then they'd have little bands and orchestras, and I'd play in those things that they would present. But I just did it because I had to. But around 12 years old, I heard the music of Frédéric Chopin played by Maurice Lichtman. I fell in love with it, and it was a mazurka, and I still play it today. And I fell in love with his music, and I was just went gung-ho, and it's been with me ever since. And I guess I was cognizant of the fact that he was such an influential composer. And his composing is so that the world loves it. It knows no barriers of nation or culture. And so I just bought that wholeheartedly. So that's how I came into music.
Okay, next step. How did you start this festival here at El Paso Community College, and in what year did you begin and have the first performances by people coming in and playing Chopin?
Well, it was 22 years ago.
Okay.
And I thought, well, I loved Chopin so much. And Chopin, the arts in those days, of course, they didn't have anything like this, and certainly not in piano. And so I thought, well, why don't I do something? I even asked my husband, what do you think if I should try to start a Chopin festival? He always said, do what you want to do, nothing keeping you from it. It was always encouraging. And so then I had a meeting of a lot of the politicians and the leaders of the community, and some of the music store owners. And so we had this meeting. They just generally, encouraging me, but they also said, the reality is that, I remember this Michael Saltzman, he's not with us anymore, but he said, I don't want to hurt you, but you might get 15 people. Go ahead and do it. We encourage you, but see, I need to tell you. So I don't want you to be hurt. And so I stood up in my youthful self and said, 15? He said, yeah, about 50. I said, you want to bet? And to this day, I can't believe I said that. So then I had to save face, as they say. And so I got all kinds of pamphlets out from my home. And my husband and I walked the line. And we walked to every car, every store, as people were coming out of the escalator, we'd give them a handout.
That was Paul Scarborough.
Paul, my husband, Dr. Paul Scarborough.
Okay, let's weave these two ladies in a little bit, and then we're going to come back and talk about your guests that you have lined up this year. Okay. Anita, when did you get involved with Lucy Scarborough and the Chopin Music Festival?
Since 2002, when I moved from Northern California to El Paso. And then at that time, my daughter was in the orchestra program, and then the teacher said, if you can go to live concerts, we can give you extra, bonus point. So because of that, as a parent, so I try to do some research in El Paso, see, if there are like good live concerts to go. So I actually found the hidden gem here in El Paso, that is the Chopin Festival. Since then, I attended, every Chopin concerts with my daughter. Yeah.
But she worked you into working at the festival. What have you done so far as your task?
Actually, I was starting as a audience, to attend the concert. But later on, I said this is such, good international level of playing, and I really want to dedicate my time there. So I tried to help out a little bit. So I contacted Tina, I want to be the usher there. And then I also attend some of the meetings to prepare. And the best thing I like about is while during the concert time, I can, interact with the audience, sharing, the music with them, on conversational level. And also, we can sit with the musicians afterwards, and we can ask questions and all that. So that's the involvement I have right now.
Yeah, it's a learning experience too,
Yes.
getting to visit with someone.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
you mentioned Tina, working you into working with ushers. Tina, longtime leader of the ushers for the Chopin Music Festival, and your husband, Orby, you work him into it.
Yes.
That's the way a wife is. She works her husband into these things too. Tell us about this. When did you get involved, and when did you start heading the ushers?
Well, I got involved at the time that I attended the community college for the music. And Dr. Scarborough, my teacher, was one of my professors there. And through the years, when we would have a music program at the community college, I would find myself ushering, helping the students or the people that attended.
Did you get some bonus points for your class?
Well, no, I didn't, but I didn't. My bonus points were that she's such a wonderful teacher. And I must say I did get bonus points. Now, not on my scores on my lessons, but also in attending and being in the choir with Dr. Lucy Scarborough. I learned a lot, and also from her husband, Dr. Paul.
About how many ushers do you have to have for the audience that we have at these concerts?
Well, we have about 10, 15 ushers. They already know exactly what to do. We are in the process now of getting the ambassadors from the community college to come and also usher, and that's going to be a great improvement there for the Chopin Festival.
Now, those student ambassadors, they're getting extra credit points for their classes. Yeah, for doing
But they're
that.
getting extra points. But we've had them in the past, and they are just absolutely amazing with the contact of the people. They know how to greet people, so we're just blessed to have them.
Well, that's important. Now, let's come to this. Our time is going real fast. Lucy, tell us about the guests that you've lined up this year. We know that every year you play the third concert in the series.
Right.
Tell us about these that you've brought in this time.
Well, Eric Zuber is the one we will have here on September the 17th. That's Saturday, September 17th, and at the Chamizal National Memorial Theater. Now, he's won any number of accolades and awards, and he has won the Gina Bachauer competition and received gold medals and bronze medals from many competitions. Too many to name now, but I saw him the other night on his website, and he was playing with the Israel Philharmonic Orchestra. I believe that people in El Paso don't realize who we're bringing here. And he's one of the leaders of the young pianists, and he has that title, one of the leaders of the young pianist world in America.
Okay.
So
Now, the second pianist you're bringing in, then I want to say something about these websites, okay? Who's the second one you're bringing in?
Alex Bayer. He is also, I don't select them unless they have made that name for themselves, and if they've won so many competitions. I was able to see both of them in Alex Bayer, now that we're talking about him, in Miami as a judge, as I'm one of the on the selection committee, and so I heard him play with the orchestra there, and then we get to meet each one of them. But he also received the accolades of the Rubinstein Awards and Gina Bachauer from Juilliard School of Music for his musicianship, and then he also played the other night. I viewed him in England, and he was received the bronze medal for the Queen Elizabeth competition. That's one of the big names in the world. Okay. So I just say, I don't think that El Paso realizes what we can bring here. Mm-hmm. But what I want to do is share with everybody, everyone who wants to be there, because I didn't have that privilege as a youngster like I wanted. So I want to make that available to others. I also want to thank the El Paso Community College. They're very much for the arts, and they're helping us a lot. You know, of course, it's a cooperative effort between the college and the community, and so I'm very grateful. So be there at the first concert, September 17th. Mm-hmm. It's all our concerts are on Saturday. All our concerts are free. All our concerts at the Chamizal National Memorial Theater, and that's on 800 South San Marshall, right across from Bowie High School.
Okay, listen to that. 7 o'clock in the evening. You want to get there in time to get a good seat.
7 o'clock.
And you're going to play the third concert, and what's the date on that?
It's October 15th.
October the 15th. Now, a word about the websites. I'm going to get Marco Laro and the staff here with the Community College Television to scan this a little bit so that people watching can get these names down, and they can go to these names, the websites, and we'll get the staff to put those across, scroll them across the bottom of the screen. And telephone number, anything you will leave with us so that they can contact you if they want to about coming to the concerts. We want to make it as accessible as possible. The little bit of time we have left now, let's deal with something about those that play the music. Anita, are there any crystal moments you remember from going to concerts, some of these pianists that really still are stuck in your mind, how they did?
Oh yeah, quite a few. But then I'm a Chinese, that's why, you know, I pay special attention to those Asian players. Mm-hmm. And then there's Sun Mei Ting, and there's Ling An, and there's Howard Na. Actually, Howard Na, you know, got the longest standing ovation, and then play a lot of encores on that concert. And then it's that concert that inspired my daughter into the music career right now she is. Mm. So I think it's really have a great impact, you know, on a lot of young people's mind.
And you got to meet some of these by going to dinner with them after the concerts, right?
Yes.
A lovely thing to do.
Yes.
Tina, what about you?
I remember them very, very distinctly because where I'm not in the house, I'm outside. In the, you know, listening to make sure.
So you don't get to see them play?
I don't get to see them play, but I see it in my mind, and I feel it. And sometimes it's although that I'm just there alone and listening to the music.
And sometimes some of the audience can't get in because it's full, and so you're sitting out there with the audience.
Exactly, that's the reason why. But we always get them in after the intermission. Mm-hmm. We make sure that we can get everybody in that came to listen to that beautiful music.
And then you get to go to the dinners afterwards.
I get to go to the dinners afterwards, which is wonderful as well.
Right, great. Any other words about the artist? If there's some that you'd like to see come back, you know, some of these are always asking Lucy, when can I come back and play again?
Yes.
Any standout for you like that you'd like to hear again?
Yes, there are some I can't recall exactly right now, but there are some that I would like to. But my inspiration too is those artists, but also Dr. Lucy. Mm-hmm. When it's her turn to play, I sit and I look and I think about that beautiful music that she's bringing to El Paso. I think it's just like a stream in the desert. Mm-hmm. We're thirsty for it.
Right.
So when she plays and the other artists, it's what the beautiful music that she's brought to El Paso.
Okay, now Lucy, what about this? Who are some of the artists you just really fell in love with?
Well, I would have to say I fell in love with all of them.
Yes.
Because each one is
You're a politician, you are.
Each one of them has their unique talent. You know, one thing about Chopin, you hear their personality. You know, they're the same notes. You know, the notation is the same, but the delivery is quite different.
Yes.
You know, there's so many of them that had a certain personality that I thought was Igor Lovinsky, excuse me, way back there, and Ning On had a special appeal, and of course the latest, the winner, Eric Chu, and I believe that one who made a different impression because he wants to come back so bad is John Dowling, because he wrote a letter to me recently, and he's giving a concert in Carnegie Hall, and he's playing all of Josh, that black composers' music, and so he said, I can come back anytime you want me to. So, well, he was a master at that, at presenting, because he had standing ovations for almost everything he did. He knew how to manipulate. He's also he had a store here in Houston, and now he has a store in New York, right across from Steinway Hall.
Wow.
And so he just, to me, he has what Franz Liszt had in the way of marketing, what he did on stage.
We should mention that some of these artists, after they play a selection, they'll stand up and tell us about it.
Right.
Carry on a conversation.
That's because of my telling them that that's what the audience likes. The old school is, you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
When I was brought up, you're just supposed to go on stage, and you play, and you bow, and you get off.
Right. But you're the teacher. And
So
you
I
want-
just said, no, why don't we change? Well, they want to know about the composer. They want to know what happened. What does that mean? And when did he do that? You know, not too much history, because they don't. People don't like that. They want to hear the music.
Right.
But they like the anecdotes about the different things, like Chopin and when he fell in love, or when he went to Mallorca in Spain, and some little things like that. Anecdotes that really tell you that he had certain thoughts in mind sometimes when he was composing. Not sometimes, all the time. So.
Now, some of the guests that we have brought in not only would like to come back again, but some of them you continue to communicate with over the years, right?
Oh, yes.
And they share their thoughts even after you've had them here in El Paso.
Like Joshua Wright recently.
Okay.
He called him. He wanted, you know, in fact, he called us, the ones who helped him. You know, we have different members going after him at the airport and you know, escorting him different places. And then he called them, and then he said, be sure and tell Dr. Scarborough that I'd like to come back. And I said, we'd like to have them all back. But I just, each one has something to offer.
And as I understand it, they're still spreading the good word about El Paso. Don't you find this when you get to visit with them, say at the meals, or some of those that are the drivers picking them up, taking them to rehearsals and so on? They're spreading the word that this is a very hospitable community. And you find that when you work with guests and you start lining them up, they hear about El Paso, Texas.
They don't think that we have something like Chopin here. They say, what are you doing to Chopin in El Paso? You know, come on. And I said, you don't know Chopin, do you? Because these people love him. Throughout the world, they venerate Chopin. When I went to Paris, and we went to his cemetery there, and people were still putting flowers on Chopin's grave, and they were leaving that flowers away from the others. But the rule now is that you can't put a false flower, you know, a fakey flower.
Yeah.
It has to be real to go on Chopin's grave. And the other there was some rock star way down the line, and they just put cigarettes on his where his grave was, but Chopin was. And the young women were still writing love letters to him. That tells you something.
Did you ever write him a love letter?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, my
But
goodness.
my love letter is just keeping his music alive.
Okay, now tell me about love letters. You had love letters to Paul. You have love letters for your children. Tell us about your children helping you with this before we run out of time.
Well, now that my husband has passed away, because he supported me, now my children are all behind me 100%. I have my daughter in Las Cruces, Ginger. She's teaching structural geology at NMSU, and she's my other self. She does a lot of planning for me, and when I'm practicing, she said, "Mom, go practice, because I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it." You know, contacting people and getting some of my email, and then of course my other one in Arizona. I don't know that I should tell you this, but I was now nominated to be the musician of Texas. But we have to do a lot of writing up of biography and etc. And I said, "There's no way I'll get that, because guess who's also who has received it? Willie Nelson."
Yeah, I was fixing to say
I
Willie Nelson.
don't have a chance, but Willie Nelson.
Now, don't they help you
Well,
also with the
appreciate-
posters and advertising and the
Yes.
website?
Our website, Mark designs my website. That's my birthday present. And Ginger and Sue Ann both design the poster, mostly Ginger, because she has her own theater in Las Cruces. And so she's up with helping with postcards. And of course, the college does a lot of helping too, in helping with, they design the program. We have the most beautiful programs that we give the students. And you know, the students now are being given rewards if they go to so many art shows, or I mean artistic, like art. It's called the Border, do you know what it's called? Anyway, they put their phone on, Tina, don't they put their phone on
Just a little square.
The
that
little square.
and they get credit here from the college. And if they get so many of them, when they graduate, they get a gold medal.
Yes.
So we want to be sure and inform the students of that, and because they want the students to be well educated.
It's a part of the quality enhancement program here to get to students involved in the community.
Right.
Community college in the community.
Right.
And so that's good that we're able to get people out there.
Right. And of course, they're really telling us a lot about that and informing the students how important it is to go to the art, especially those that are supported by the college, because we have the best. The El Paso Community College. How can you beat the first prize winners of the world? Nobody has that. The college can offer that to the community. We don't offer anything, just little trash. We offer the best of art in piano. And the piano, of course, is one of the 5 great inventions of the music world. One of the great. It's great because it's still useful in the studios, in every church, and every school, and
Many homes. Many homes.
And it's just, this is the one of the great inventions of all time, piano, and it's relatively new, since it was 1700 that it was invented, and so it's, how many, 316, am I counting it right? In 16 years, that's kind of new. When you talk about eons of times, and they didn't have that.
With drums and sticks and all those kinds of things. Okay, let's our guest, before our time runs completely out. When you're handing out these bookmarks or postcards about Chopin, what kind of reaction are you getting out in the community when you're handing these things out? They say, "Chopin, who's Chopin?"
No, in fact, a lot of people we know, they know Chopin already.
Okay.
But they just cannot believe that it's free.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they said, they would make time to come. Yeah, but I would like a lot of Oriental people, the families, they all try to help their children to play music when they were very young, and just come out to attend some live concerts, and it's going to bring them to a different level, a different perspective, because music, really transcend time, territories, races, and all that, and then you can actually, connect with the performer, the musicians, while in the concert hall. So I really encourage a lot of families, parents, bring your kids in, to try to enjoy, free concerts with the Chopin Festival.
Okay, what about you, Tina, when you're handing these out?
When I'm handing them out, people are really appreciative of it. Last week, several weeks ago, we were involved at the USASMA, the Sergeant Major's Academy. They have 600 new students, family coming into El Paso. And so when we had our table already set for the chapel, we had those bookmarks there. And we were quite surprised that as they came in and out of the rooms for the different things that they were to do, we hand those bookmarks out to them, and they would look and go, wow, you know, some of them would, but they were busy, but we did pass those out. The mayor passed by my table, shook my hand, and I forgot to give him one as he went out. But he spoke, you know, but we had them on the table and we were giving those out. And those sergeant majors were quite amazed because they don't know what's going on here in El Paso. But it's received well.
Lucy, any last words? Our time's almost gone.
Well, my last word is that I do want to thank you for allowing us on this wonderful program of yours, and congratulate you on the many years that you have served the community so well. And I do want to thank the El Paso Community College, who has their doors open, and they let people be who they are. You know, they allowed me to be Lucy Scarborough, not made a zombie out of me. They let me be a person. And I say that, thank you, Community College, for what you represent.
Well, this is a good way to get the message out there. Now, we should also mention, something else just came to mind. All of the music is not composed by Chopin. You do permit sometimes, once in a while, they can play Mozart or some other, so that you say, well, I heard Chopin last year, year before last, and so on. So sometimes these artists, you give them a chance to play somebody else's music, but overwhelmingly the majority of the tunes are Chopin.
75%.
Okay.
They called me last night, the Zuber. He said, well, I have this by Rachmaninoff and I have this by Bach, and what do you think? I said, that's just fine, just do it. And this year I'm going to play my piano sonata. So that's nice.
A little bit of Lucy Scarborough in it.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being with us today. This is wonderful again. Another year, Chopin Music Festival. Free concerts, Chamazal. Show up for all three of them if you possibly can. I'm Leon Blevins. We'll see you at another program.